I'm technically alone down here in the basement.
Oh, I guess you are.
Yeah. It's like a basement suite.
There you go. Jason's the only one that lives here,
Yeah.
for the record.
Yeah.
Let that be shown.
So you know what? You also remember, snitches get stitches.
Yeah. This isn't communist Russia.
Yeah. Okay, let's kick things off.
How you doing, Jason?
Not too bad. Welcome back, Christian, to our weekly episodic podcast, the Entertaining Stupid Podcast.
Yeah.
I
miss this table. I miss this room.
Yeah. It's the first time we're doing this in person. We just kind of thought, let's give this a go and see how it is.
Yeah, because it's hard to riff on Discord. At least I don't know, because we're not like professional. Like, I'm sure Joe Rogan gets away with it because he's professional, but...
Yeah, well, he's also probably got, like, you know, a team that can edit out all the little pauses and breaks, and I'm a little busy with school now, so it's like, I have it on the background while I'm trying to edit, and, like...
Which is admirable, because, like, you work, and you're going to school, and you're still doing this.
Yeah. I just like to pile things on, and hopefully I can get it done, and my time management skills are good enough.
Well, I mean, at least, like, in this day and age, like, I kind of... wish that like this virus would have happened like while I was in school, because at least I'd be kept busy at home.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I love movies and I love watching TV, but I just cannot fucking stand it anymore. Like, the only thing I watch right now is WandaVision, and then it's only like half-hour episodes weekly.
Yeah.
And everything else, like, I binge watched like 5 seasons of The Sopranos, and
really?
and then it got to the point where I was like, I'm bored. I'm so fucking bored.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I'm going back and watching like Shameless.
Oh yeah.
And like I have that on in the background while I'm doing other shit, and it's like I'm not really paying attention sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like last weekend. Cody and my other buddy Ben. He listens sometimes. We went to my sister has a rink in her backyard.
Yeah.
So we went for like a skate outside. And then we just like wanted to get a beer after, which is allowed. First of all, we are allowed to do. You were allowed to go for drinks, right?
Yeah.
So
we like 4 per table or something like that.
Yeah. So there's only 3 of us, and Ben lives in Stonebridge, and he had to go let his dogs out. So we're like, okay, well, let's go somewhere close. And we're like, Cable Brew House looks pretty alright, and it wasn't even that busy. So we go there, we sit down, and have a couple of beers or whatever. We end up getting all fucking just hammered, and then Cody's wife picked us up, but and Ben just walked home. But I ended up winning a jersey and like a surf and turf dinner, which I don't know, is a surf and turf like lobster and shit?
It's lobster and steak typically. Yeah.
Okay, because I've never had lobster before, so
you're allowed to have.
I don't know.
Now, right?
I can have shrimp. That's as far as I know. But I don't know about lobster, so I don't know even.
Give it a try, and if you die, then you die on surf.
I wouldn't die. I think it would just be like itchy and stuff. But like I don't even. Like, it's not even practical to eat lobster. Like, it's one of those things, if you're allergic to lobster, it doesn't matter. It's like being good at bowling. It doesn't matter. Right? Like, how does that help you? Like, who eats like lobster except like once in a while, maybe? Or like what other applications do you use like lobster cakes or something? But
lobster tails, lobster lobster rolls.
Yeah, but when do you eat those?
I don't know, like
when was the last time you had lobster?
Well, I'm Asian, so seafood's a big part of my diet.
Yeah, but I understand seafood.
Like on an average, like for a regular person, I would say you have a lobster tail. Like if you're going out for a really fancy dinner. Or something,
how often do you? Well, not anymore, but
yeah, but before maybe like once every 3 months or something like that.
But I guess if you compare it to the utility of being able to eat like thin fish. Like, be able to eat fish, that's way more practical.
Yeah.
Than being able to eat lobster. So it's like, how do I go to the store and just eat lobster?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do?
I mean, unless again, like me, like it's just part of your regular diet. Like
because it's way easier to find fake lobster than it is to find real lobster.
That
and usually
is true.
Fake lobster is usually fish. So
yeah, it's pollock.
Yeah, I can't have that. So it's
you avoid that anyways.
Yeah, but
so what are you gonna do about the surf and turf dinner?
I don't know. Like I got 2 tickets to it, and they're just like, let us know, like whatever. I'm like, oh, like, do I just like ask just for the steak, or do I challenge myself with lobster somehow?
You can try it, or if you bring on a date, maybe you go, hey, you can have this lobster
Oh
tail.
god, that's a whole other thing in itself. But anyway, so I guess I won a jersey, so then I went up and I whatever, and then I thought just the whole thing was so funny, and I ended up getting home and I was still kind of drunk, and I ended up phoning my sister and telling her about it. And then I woke up the next day with kind of a hangover, and I got a text from my dad, and he's like, "Did you go to Brew House last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and then no response back, right? And then, well, okay, party foul. Hey, it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. How did that happen? What did you do?
I have no clue. I must have just tipped it back too fast.
Oh, anyway, so he doesn't respond back to me. And then I'm at the grocery store, and I'm walking out, and I see my sister and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend just went to the store, the one that I talked to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go up to the car, and I'm like, hey, did you tell mom and dad that I went to Brew House? She's like, yeah, because you go over there. And I want to be able to go over there or something like that. And she got mad at me because I went for a beer somewhere. And then I had a package that was at my parents' house. It was apart from my car. That was actually kind of expensive. So I knocked on the door because I'm not going to walk in because I know they're probably mad at me. My mom opens the door in like a couple inches, grabs my package, and is about to throw it at me. Not in an aggressive way, but because she doesn't want she doesn't want to be near me. And I just like lost it. I lost my mind. Because I actually had so much fun that night seeing my friends, because I just like go.
Well, it's that isolation that really gets you.
Like I'm alone all the time. Like I go to work and then I wake up to an empty house. And it doesn't matter. I have a roommate, but it doesn't matter. I wake up to an empty house. I come home to an empty house, and I go to sleep in an empty house. So it's like I'm by myself all the time. And it was actually like so nice to just be with my friends and have a beer somewhere. And then, but they don't understand that, right? Because the entire rest of my family have like.
Yeah, well, I mean,
significant others, right?
They're all together in that house.
They're all together, right? Like my sister has her boyfriend, my sister has her husband, my other sister has her boyfriend, my parents have each other, and then there's me on the outside. It's like there's nothing. So I just got overwhelmed with like emotion, and I just like got mad, and then I left. And then the next day, I text my dad for some stock advice. Mm-hmm. No reply. So they haven't texted me, they haven't talked to me, they haven't phoned me, nothing in like a week and I guess like a week.
Okay, now when they see this, they're gonna be
well, they're not gonna want. But the thing is, if I post this to my Instagram, last time I posted something to my Instagram of this, I got in shit from my family.
That was back in like
I know, and I said because we released the episodes like 2 weeks.
We were doing it 2 weeks in advance.
And I said this is before the new rules were in place about going to someone's houses, and they all got I got the text from everybody. Getting mad at me, and this is the reason why we're wearing a mask, just so my family will take me back to like show them at least that I do care, but you can only be alone for so fucking long.
Yeah,
because even like my one sister set me up with a girl last month, right?
Okay,
she's like a doctor or whatever, and she's like, yeah, Alicia, I should go on a date or whatever. Went on a first date, it was great. Went on a second date, it was even better. She was like a little bit older than me. And then we go on a third date, and she's like, I want to plan it, so she does. And we go to an escape room. And when and I show up, and then she's like, yeah, we're going to go to an escape room down the street. I'm like, fuck. She's gonna think I'm an idiot. I don't do well under pressure like that. Like, I don't think I'm a stupid person, but when you have like an hour to like solve puzzles and shit
and stuff like that,
I just like clam up and I suck at it.
Oh, and it's like, there's that pressure to perform. And I remember doing one with a bunch of buddies, and my one buddy was just so fixated on this drawing on the wall, and it's just random shit. It's just like a red herring, and he spent all the hour just trying to figure out this one little thing on the wall. And it's like, no, we're done. We're leaving. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I've only ever been to an escape room twice, and both on a date. So there was like this weird association, this pressure of like, I don't want to look stupid, right? Like, I don't want to be this guy who just like doesn't like. I tried, and like I don't want to, that's just my brain though. That's the way I think. I think I overthought it a little bit, but that's more my brain one. Like, oh, she's gonna think I'm an idiot. But anyway, so we ended up finishing it. They gave us like an extra 10 minutes just because we were getting close or whatever. And then we go out for supper, which obviously my family would think that's terrible, and the worst thing you could possibly do. So we went to Picaro and had tacos or whatever. And then it was great. We had a good conversation, and I dropped her back off at her car. And then she looks at me and goes, yeah, I'm not sure about a relationship or something along those lines, but she worded it really bad. So I was really confused. I didn't know if she was asking for a relationship or didn't want one. And so I had to clarify. I'm like, wait, do you want a relationship or no? I'm kind of confused. And she's like, no, I just like got some personal things or something. I've never had a date end that way where you have a great time and then you drop someone off and they just drop that on you.
I've never had it there. I've had it like they'll text me or call me the day after.
Yeah. That's what I'm used to. Look at us fucking losers just getting rejected and shit. But no, it just like caught me off guard, and I just said the same thing twice. I says, well, I don't regret it. I think that's what I said twice. Like it was good either way, I think. And then so then that happened. And then this shit, and I was like, oh my god, I just can't catch a fucking break right now.
See, the way I would have responded to that would have just been, okay.
Yeah, but I pretty much
off.
did. Like I didn't know what to fucking say. I should have made some kind of.
I don't think you can. Like you're just so caught off guard at that point.
Yeah, like I texted her after that. I'm like, hey, just be honest. Like I was kind of caught off guard by this. Like I had a great time either way. Like if you ever like figure your shit out, like give me a call or whatever. Like I was super like I wasn't like freaking out or anything. I was just like kind of bummed. And then the next day she's like, yeah, wasn't so elegant about that. She's like, I have trouble like with expressing my emotions or whatever. And I'm
like most people.
I'm like, I don't know, because like I feel like that's almost like a cop out sometimes. Like I was trying to think back, like did I fucking say something? Like I wonder what I said because that made her feel like that. Because like I said, like I hope I didn't give off like this pushy vibe like of wanting a relationship or something. I'm like, it takes me a while to get to know someone to get to that level. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, cool. It's not me. It's not me.
It's not. Well, I don't know. Still, who knows? But that's also where my brain goes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of hangovers, a coworker of mine just turned 35, and one of the things he said to me kind of caught me off guard when I was asking him about what he had planned for his birthday and for the weekend.
Okay.
He goes and lists off like he's gonna go out and with his wife or whatever and have a couple of drinks and stuff like that and just have some fun. He's like, yeah, but I gotta make sure I'm prepared for the Sunday morning after like I gotta make sure I have my kit ready and like he's got I guess like
Gatorade and vitamin B or something.
Like he starts listing off all this stuff that helps him I guess get over his hangover because he's like, oh yeah, no, it just absolutely shuts me off for the entire day and like I'm just I can't get anything done and I don't want to get out of bed and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself like that doesn't really happen to me. I hope God like at 35 that my hangovers aren't that bad. Yeah.
Well, at least for me, like I don't even have like I kind of got drunk last weekend, but I don't even have the desire to do that shit anymore. Like to go out like we did like
when we were 20s.
Like 20, 19 years old, like where you live for the Friday where you just go get hammered with your friends.
Yeah, and you do that Friday night, you do that Saturday night.
Oh, every week. The amount of money, I think I would spend like $60 a night and think about doing that twice a weekend for like a solid year. The amount of money I spent, I pretty much made money just to go out and party after.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. Just even do you think that's ever going to come back? Like, how long do you think until like clubs and stuff are a thing where nobody's wearing masks anymore? Like, do you think
man, it's going to be years and years.
Or do you think there's going to be like even 20 years down the road, like residual effects from this? Like in terms of like now hand sanitizer is going to be a thing everywhere. Like it's just going to be normal. Like your salt and pepper shaker sitting right. There's just going to be a thing of hand sanitizer.
I could see that, man. Like,
or like you'll still see people 5 years later, say after this, just assume the vaccine, everyone gets vaccinated this year and say it kind of goes away. But like people like 5 years from now still wearing masks when they go out. And people don't really look at it weird anymore. Because if you saw someone wearing a mask out in public like 2 years ago, you'd have been like, what the fuck's their deal? Right?
Yeah, I think it'd be strange, but I think having like hand sanitizers like at the clubs and stuff like that, it'd be like at the coat check or whatever. Like you hand over your coat or whatever, and there's just you have to sanitize before you head on in or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be weird, but anyway, no, I'm just glad that like that you can kind of do stuff like this.
Yeah, but like he like dealing with hangovers. The next day isn't really too bad most of the time for me. I'm a little dehydrated and dizzy, headache or whatever for the morning. I'm usually fine by the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how much you drink and what you're drinking. Like if you're slamming back Palm Bays or some shit, that's gonna have
Yeah, and it
So,
depends on if you're, I guess having like some water in between your drinks or whatever.
yeah.
Every now and then, but like, yeah, he's going on. My
Like, what's he
coworker's.
gonna do for his birthday? Like, he's gonna have two of his friends come with him to go somewhere.
I think yeah, it's like him, his wife, and like a couple friend or whatever that they're going to go maybe have a nice meal and then come back to his place, and then they're all just gonna get smashed or whatever, and I don't know, swing. I mean,
Swing? What do you mean swing? No.
but like, yeah, he was going on. He's like, he's got like his Advil, fucking hot water bottle, warmer thing. Like it was just like he had this whole kit ready, and I was thinking like, I get up, I try and drink as much water as possible, maybe an Advil or whatever to deal with the headache. And then I just proceed, and it made me think back of like, yeah, when we were 20 or something like that, where we'd like Friday night do that, wake up hungover, and by like I don't know, like 1-2 o'clock or whatever, I'm fine. I'm trying to gear up to do that again on a Saturday night and like pre-drink at a buddy's house or something.
Isn't
like
it
that.
so sad that we can't have those days back? Like, I used to have my ritual with my friends. We would go to our one buddy's house and just go to his basement because he was like in the middle, like where we all lived like in this area pretty much, and he would just go to his place all the time, and that was like our ritual, and that was so much fun. It just makes me miss it more now because you can't do things like that.
Yeah.
So
And like I don't know, now I just have like trying to have some greasy ass food in the morning or something like that, and have some
not even that makes me feel like shit. I think what I do is I have a water bottle always in my room anyway, so I drink that. Then I'll go if I get up. That's if I get it. Sometimes I'll just lay there and suffer for a while. Like my head will hurt so bad, but I don't want to get up. All I have to do is go downstairs to the cupboard and get some Advil. But once I do, I'll drink some water, go get some Advil, and then I'll like try to eat like some kind of like bread. I think.
soak it up or whatever.
I don't know what it's about. Maybe it soaks it up. Maybe it's just like non-evasive because like anything like too greasy, too sugary usually will set me off. Like one time I remember after a night out, I remember this because I had one of those blackberries that like it looked like that. It was like that shaped, and then
It popped up.
It popped up with the keyboard.
Yeah.
I don't know what those were even called. I had two of them at one point. I remember. But anyway, and I remember waking up in the morning and the back of it was gone, and I could just see the battery. the back plate was just gone. I'm like, what the fuck? So I remember taping it, and then I went to the Subway next to Boston Pizza, just out by
our place there. Yeah.
Yeah. And eating that, and it was like a what's the Italian one?
Italian herbs and
BMT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had one of those, and just like something about the greasiness of the salami, like I almost threw up inside that restaurant because it just made me feel so sick. So I don't even know. Like I guess it depends on who you are.
Yeah.
With hangover food,
Oh,
or I
fuck.
just don't eat.
Yeah, for some people there's that, but like when I was in Seattle and I was going up, one of the things I loved about being down in the States was you could find a fucking like an American diner like everywhere, and like we after a night of drinking and we were all hungover, we would just go down to the diner, grab some greasy ass bacon and eggs in the morning or something like that, and just some shitty ass coffee to try and get through the morning. And that's one of the things I loved about the experience.
Like I've had one American diner experience, and that was in Oakland. I like walked like 9 blocks away to this diner, and it was like everything that you think like a diner, like stereotypical diner, with like the girl with the coffee, like wearing that kind of like one
that
piece
uniform
skirt.
or whatever,
that uniform. It's like a one piece skirt kind of deal, and like a pot of coffee, and then like it was kind of cool. I don't know, the American experience, I suppose.
Yeah. I just hope that as I get older, that if I'm ever hungover, it doesn't knock me out for more than a nap like the morning.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the hell of trying to get through an entire day like that.
Yeah. So you talking to the girls at all, or are you trying to date at all?
I mean, it's
because this is something you and I exclusively kind of experience.
Yeah, it's
like
tough. It's tough right now, and the fact that I'm adding on full-time schooling, full-time work, I have zero time to myself. It's fun chatting with a couple of girls here and there, but I'm not pushing towards anything, and sometimes because I'm so focused on fucking school that I just let, conversations drop for a day or two, and that's not really, it's not really helpful for the cause there.
Well, you never know. I don't know. I'm not gonna give any advice anymore. Fuck this. I don't know shit anymore. Especially after just this whole like pandemic and whatnot.
It's definitely changed the landscape of dating.
Remember that one time we were supposed to go speed dating after I got back from Maui? It was like around this time of year.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go to like the hose or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
never did that.
Never did that.
Because bars.
No, it wasn't yet. That wasn't yet.
Okay.
No. I got back and like around this time last year. And then I was home for like 2 or 3 weeks before things got shitty.
Oh right, yeah, because we had two options. We could have done the Valentine's, like right around Valentine's Day, which would have been just god awful.
I was already away by that time.
Yeah,
so.
and then we had the one in March there, and we just never went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, you don't know how good you have it until all that shit's gone. Like it makes me think like through this whole thing. Every day I come home, just like man, like I'm just so bored with everything. Even work is a little bit boring right now. Like I'm just kind of like feel like stagnant, where it's just like man, like once coronavirus is done, like maybe I'll just like leave.
Yeah.
And go somewhere crazy, but I don't know. And then my brain is like, oh, but I want to buy another car.
I'm sure you can pick up another car for cheap or something like that.
Well, I want to import one, but I mean, it's like that's the point. It's like my brain is just everywhere. Where I'm like, man, like, do I want to leave after this whole coronavirus thing is done? Like, oh no, but I want to buy a car. It's like, what do I don't know.
I think what really sort of exacerbates sort of that feeling, trying to find someone or whatever dating, is the fact that we wake up in a place by ourselves, we spend most of the day by ourselves, and we come home to a place by ourselves. Yeah, and that definitely does make you feel lonely. But like, I don't know. I'm comfortable with the silence. I'm comfortable with the loneliness. Like I just know for a fact that I can cope with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, like I used to consider myself like kind of an introvert, which I kind of am a little bit. But now I'm just like I need a little bit of social interaction.
Yeah, like this is fantastic.
This is like usually I just like used to just go to my parents and hang out with the cats and they just make me food. Yeah. Which was nice.
Was nice until they
it was nice.
Banned you from the place.
Yeah, until I'm banned. So yeah, no, it's like one of those like weird things. Like I don't. Plus, this is also like a shitty time of year, like in Saskatchewan in general. Just like we're halfway. Like we've had snow since November.
Yeah. And I mean, we did have a week where it was really nice weather and things started to melt, but
still, to me, as much as like I love like snowboarding and stuff like that, the snow gets so old so quick. Like even if it is like like it was up to like 7 degrees the other day. Yeah. Even then, it's like melting and it's disgusting out. I like prime Saskatoon summer. Like that's
fun.
That's like my if I had to put a date on it, like July 7th. That's like peak summertime in Saskatoon.
Yeah. You can go out to the fucking beaches along the river there, or just hang out on patio.
Oh, patio beers. Oh, fuck.
We used to go patio beers after we recorded the podcast all the damn time.
Yeah, sometimes. But not anymore.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what else is going on.
Not a whole heck of a lot. I'm just trying to figure out what else we've gone through.
Maybe you can like cut this part out.
Well, yeah. We'll trim it. We'll trim it down. I'll trim it down in editing or, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to talk to girls and like reach out, but like I find that I don't know. It's falling into, I guess, a rhythm. Like it's always like the same kind of openers on the dating apps.
Are you on that stuff right now?
Every now and then sometimes or I'll go pretty decent for like a week or two or something like that, and then after that I'm like, no, I'm bored of this, and delete it and come back like maybe a month later and try it again. But it's I've never had good luck with online dating. I find
What's your definition of good luck?
like a decent conversation. Yeah. Yeah, I find that I don't know if it's just, the way I've set up my profile or if it's just me, but I find I have better odds chatting up some stranger at a bar or in public or something
Yeah.
like that than I do on dating apps.
I go to the gym with this dude and we're talking about it, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, dude, go to Indigo. I'm like, what do you mean go to Indigo? Is there some kind of book I have to read? He's like, no.
Just hang around.
No, he's
the
like, yeah,
bookstore.
just go to Indigo. He's like, how many girls go to Indigo? Just talk to them. I'm like, no, that's terrifying. That's way too scary. And he's like, grocery stores? I'm like, grocery stores? Really? You go to grocery stores? And he's like, yeah, dude, he's like, all the time. He's like, how many dates I've gotten from grocery stores? I'm like, that's so fucking random. Like,
That's weird. It is weird, but I've tried it a couple of times, and
he's like, yeah, but make sure if you're gonna go chat up a girl, your cart has to be like prime. Like, it has to be full of like good stuff, not like Doritos and shit like that.
yeah, I just have.
I'm like,
a
well, I don't
bag.
buy that shit anyway, but I know what you mean. Like, you don't want like, can you imagine having like a box of, like Joe Louis, and then like I don't
just
know,
a full cart
like
of
some fucking
Twinkies.
Eggos and shit like that. And the only vegetable you're buying is like, I don't know, like frozen broccoli or some shit.
Like French fries.
Yeah, it's technically the only vegetable you're actually getting is potato chips or some
Yeah.
shit. But
I don't know. I've done it a couple of times. I think it's okay.
at a grocery store?
Yeah.
Which grocery store?
Let's see. The Sobeys on Stonebridge.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just be walking up and down the house. Well, I'll only I'll only interject when it looks like they're trying to make a decision on something or whatever. Like,
Oh,
they're
really?
looking at the thing. I go, I like that tomato sauce or whatever, or ask them like what they're planning for tonight or something like that. And
I just imagine some girl just like, not like just freaking out in general, just like yelling at you, like, and then like throwing the tomato can at you, and like just
I'm just being pelted
just
with
completely
canned
like
goods.
just imagine like it going completely opposite the way that you thought it was gonna go. Like, this person, yeah, might say something. It'd be really funny. I just imagine for some reason, like, can you imagine a girl, like in your situation, you see a girl trying to decide on something like, like Asian style, and you like see that and like make a joke, because then she has to acknowledge you, because if she doesn't, I'm assuming this girl's white,
Yeah.
first of all, and she has to acknowledge you, because if she doesn't, she's a bigot. Technically.
Technically,
don't
okay, that may be a stretch. That may be a stretch, but yeah, that's probably where I would say I find most of my success. is
Just for a second, just imagine this girl like trying to decide like what kind of rice wine that she wants to buy or something like that, like or like something in that aisle, and then you say something like, oh, you should try that one, and she like she's the kind of girl like freaks out, and she's like, doesn't even see you yet, she goes like, what do you know, and then turns around and sees that you're Asian, and it's just like, just feels terrible. She feels bad for being racist, but then she's also being racist because you're Chinese, and she assumes that you know everything about Asian cuisine.
And then she's also
So she doesn't know what the fuck to do.
misandrist or whatever. Like
And then
just because I'm a dude, I'm mansplaining something to her or something like that.
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
angry
yeah.
about that.
I saw this video of this guy. He was on a subway, and it's like I didn't know what. Okay, so he was drawing a picture of a girl sitting across from him,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if he was. I think he had like crayons or something. Not crayons, like pencil.
Pencil and paper and like sketching.
No,
and
not
stuff like
pen.
that.
What are those colored pencils? What are those colored pencils called?
Colored pencils, like pencil crayons.
Is that what that's called? A pencil crayon?
I would assume so.
The one that like it looks and feels like a pencil, but it's like green. Like there's different colors. Is this pencil crayon?
I'm pretty sure.
No,
pencil
is that what that's
crayons.
called?
Yeah, I don't have my phone on me right now, but I would assume
I'm
so.
gonna look. I've been in a school.
All right, continue. With the
Anyway.
story.
So he's drawing this picture of her, and then the video is titled like "Wait for her reaction." And my brain was expecting her to fucking flip her shit and be like, "Why the fuck you staring at me?" Right? And then he gives it to her, and she like starts like crying because she thinks it's so great and so wonderful. And I'm like, wow, like, am I that jaded that I expected this girl to just like fucking flip her shit? I mean, because that's what I expect. Because like the thought
Is that based on your personal experience, or
I don't know. I just think the whole premise of sitting across to someone and drawing them is fucking creepy. A little bit. Like, I don't think she really knew what to do. Then emotion like overtook her, and she just like thought it was so beautiful and like thanked him and like kind of like asked him out. And I'm like, I did not expect that to happen. So I guess that's maybe why I don't approach women in a grocery store. Plus, you also don't know if they're like married or some shit. Well, I guess you can look at their hand, but you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, you try and chat them up, and that's why I always ask, what they're planning on or shit like that. If they mention a significant other or boyfriend or something like that, it's like, okay, I'll make my, I guess, recommendation on what they should get and, get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I ever had to talk to anybody in a grocery store like that, it'd have to be like an opportunity it's too hard to pass, like to say something. Like if there's like
you
this,
have to make
if there's like this gorgeous girl like coming through like at the checkout and I'm like behind her and she's got like Tostitos and queso and ginger ale and like I don't know a bunch of chocolate and shit, then you can like make an assumption and just be like, oh, rough night, eh? Like it's that kind of night. Like then that, but maybe I'm just not that clever. I don't know.
It also I think it's also depends on your level of confidence. Because like if I know what I'm talking about, they're in the ethnic food aisles, right? Like I can make a little remark about which soy sauce to use or something like that.
Oh, I guess. Actually, now that I think about it, the only time I would do it if I was at the liquor store and someone is deciding on cider, like a girl or something, then I'd be
if she's staring at the wall like Flatlander or like the Radlers or
something just
like
anything and like because not like this was a girl, this was just dude or whatever, just at the liquor store by my place. And he was just like staring at the Flatlander stuff, and I was looking at other ciders, and I'm like, "Do I help this guy?" Like, right? And then he asked an employee about the Winter Spice, but we didn't really have any Winter Spice in cans yet. And then that's what I mean. Like, if it's that obvious to like talk to if that was a girl though, you know what I mean? If it was a girl, I probably would have talked to her, but it was a dude. I'm like, fuck this guy. he can figure this shit out on his own. He doesn't need me.
Yeah, and like
no free advice here if you got a dong. So
yeah, I get it at like the grocery Indigos would have been a bookstore would have been a bit tougher to.
I just imagine like going up to the first girl that I see and she's looking at books, and I don't know, like I try to talk to her and the book that she's gonna buy is something insane, like I don't know, like
a maternity book or something like that.
No, I was thinking of actually something a little more darker, like in like a book on depression or some shit, or like a book on like bipolar or borderline personality, like a book that says how to deal with borderline personality disorder for dummies or something.
Or it's like
see you later.
Those chicken soup books or
for the
like
tormented soul. And then you're like, fuck. But then she really wants to talk to you because this is the first guy that's ever approached her for a while, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Just because you walked by, she's immediately clingy to you.
And I go back to that guy. Yeah, I go back to that guy that told me to go to Indigo. I'm like, yeah. So I picked up this girl. He's like, yeah, good job. I'm like, yeah, she's something.
she's in the car waiting for me right now.
Yeah, she wasn't in there when I left my house. So.
Oh, I mean, like, well, what other public places do you think would be like weird? Because I mean,
the woman's bathroom.
You're just breathing heavily down behind her.
Yeah. It's just like you're like pushed up against three corners of a wall overlooking the stall, and then you just are completely just oblivious of how anything works. Yeah. Okay. But creepy place.
I don't know, haven't you said something about like the gym was always the gym's always a weird place.
Yeah, well, I was talking to one of my sisters about it a long time ago, and she was just like, girls just don't want to be approached at a gym. They're there to work out and get in and get out. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of respect that, because even if I see people I know at the gym, I intentionally avoid them because I don't want to stop.
Yeah, I will always do like the hey, what's up kind of nod or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't want to have a fucking 10-minute conversation.
No, I mean, if you're in between sets, go stand, chat a little bit for like a couple of minutes while you're resting for your next set or something like that.
Sure.
And just move on.
I mean, yeah, like you got like 2 minutes or something. But
yeah,
like the guy who's thinking about importing a car through. There's a guy who told me about the go to bookstore or whatever. Like he's a great guy and shit like that. But the one time I remember we stood and had a conversation for like 10 minutes, and I was just like, my muscles went cold, and I was like, oh man, I can't do that. Ugh. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where else would be weird?
Well, there's a lot of places that are weird. I think. Okay, not weird. Car dealership. That's not weird. Whether you're both getting your car fixed or you're both looking at cars because you're there for the same reason. Assumingly, nobody just goes to car dealership because.
Yeah, no one goes to a car dealership just to pick up women, right, Christian?
No, I don't do that. Then you try like mansplain a car to her, and she just fucking like knows more than you, like, or just gets mad at you for doing that. What else would be appropriate? Subway line. Like I mean like actually like not I mean like the subway,
Public transit, yeah.
the sandwich place.
Oh.
No, not that we don't have those, but you know what I mean. Like, oh man, my brain's all over the place. But there's a stand-up bit by this Australian guy that he was here. This is like a while ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I was here in Saskatoon. And I was looking for like the subway, because you assume like every big city has a subway, right?" He's like looking for the subway, and someone told me go down the street and take a right, and I did that, and it's a fucking sandwich store. But no, fuck, a weird place. I was gonna say bus stop.
Could you do it at a coffee shop?
No, I don't know. I don't really go to coffee shops. Like, who goes to coffee shops really by themselves? Do you do that sometimes? Like,
I do that to get some work done. Like,
okay, yeah, that's what I mean. So they're there to do work. They're not there to fucking talk to you.
Yeah. I don't go sit down at a coffee shop sitting there going, trying to make eye contact with everybody in the fucking room.
Oh, that's what I do. That's probably what I would do. I'd probably, like, if a hot girl came in, I'd try to make eye contact.
Like, I'm sitting there, I'll have like a portfolio of papers or something like that on my laptop just to work on something. And
yeah.
And like,
what coffee shop do you go to? Maybe I'll go
let's see. I used to go the Mystic Javas, the one downtown, the one up by Whiskey Jacks. I think it's a different name now.
I don't know what let's call it. It's like there's another coffee shop though. Right?
Yeah. But let's see. There's a couple of places on Broadway that I go to. Broadway Roastery is fantastic.
Fuck, we should just go to a coffee shop one of these times.
Yeah.
Just to hang out.
Yeah.
You can do some work. I'll read a comic book or something.
Yeah. We'll bring the recording equipment and see how fast we can get kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like, speaking of like comic books and shit, I feel like I'm regressing to a 12-year-old through this whole pandemic, because like one time I was so tired on a Saturday that I watched 5-hour walkthrough of God of War 3.
And you don't really play video games.
No,
much.
I just watched it because I want to know. I think that's the Norwegian one, right, where he faces Baldur.
I think like that's 4.
No, that's 4. Whatever the one where he moves to the
Norse stuff.
The Norse stuff. Yeah. So I watched that whole thing.
Too bad Maddie wasn't here. He'd explain all the crap out of it for you.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed that Thor and Odin didn't show up, because like Baldur's just a piece of shit. He's like the shitty brother that no one knows about. Anyway, but like every night I go home and I just like read comics, or I watch like Marvel breakdown videos. I'm like, man, like I feel like I'm fucking 10 years old here.
And then, you're watching WandaVision every week.
Yeah, watching WandaVision, and like I'm like watching like all the breakdowns. Like I'll watch like 4 or 5 different YouTube channels about the same fucking episode.
And it's the same things
it's
over and over.
It's more or less the same
again.
thing. And then I'll listen to podcasts. I subscribe to like 4 different Marvel podcasts, and I listen to all of them about like theories and shit. And I'm like, because I don't know, there's nothing else.
There's nothing else to do. And
like I like comics.
If you enjoy comics, go do it, man.
But yeah, like I read comics like almost every fucking night. It's like, oh man, like.
Oh, I mean, what else? Like, if you think it's a waste of time, you have to look at it like, what else could I be doing with this time?
I guess.
And
like,
if you don't have a fucking answer, then you're not wasting your time.
I guess. Like, I wrote that movie.
Oh yeah, how did that? You finished?
Yeah, I finished the first draft, and I'm like halfway through. Like, when I say second draft, I mean I'm just reading through it and changing dialogue or deleting things. I'm not actually rewriting it. Like, I remember watching this Taika Waititi talk about how he writes scripts. And what he'll do is he'd write his first draft, and then he'll put it away, and he'll write the second draft
blind
from memory of the first draft, because he says, and all the stuff you remember is the important stuff. And I'm like, that's way too much work for someone who doesn't make money doing it and is not in the industry, and it's just a hobby. So, but no, I ended up finishing it.
That's cool.
And it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I overthink a lot of shit, and then I think it's good, but then I feel like it's shit at the same time.
I think that's very common amongst like hobbyists when you first start off. Like you think your stuff is absolute garbage. You don't want anybody else to take a look at it. But
yeah, because I don't remember how much I told you about it, but the whole thing is like kind of like I was more concentrating trying to get the science right of it, because I was thinking about this on my way to work yesterday. I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, like maybe I was concentrating too much on getting the science right. Like I bought books, I was watching lectures on like theoretical physics and stuff. Did I lack in the story kind of thing, because then I felt like it was missing an element, so I added like some kind of like Hinduism element. to it because there's a lot of crossover. If you look at like Hindu cosmology and theoretical physics, there's a lot of crossover, which is kind of more than most religions or whatever. But anyway, so then I end up like finishing the story, kind of combining those two, and I'm like, is this even good? Like, is this deep? Is there layers to this? And then it's just, I don't know. God, I sound like such a fucking downer. It's insane.
It's tough to feel, especially if you're first starting out and like this is your first sort of major.
Yeah, it's the first time I've written like a feature.
Yeah,
I've written like small like short films before, but it's the first time I've actually. This is like if you translate to a movie, it's like 2.5 hours.
Oh damn!
If you shoot it.
Yeah, and so, I think it's like because this is your first major thing.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna think it's shit because it's your first attempt at it. But
True.
like, there's going to be good things and there's going to be bad things about it, and you have to take it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And then my brain is like, I'm like, I don't know how it works. Like, can you write an entire script and then put it away and then start writing something else at the same time? Because I want to write. This is gonna sound so fucking stupid, but I want to write like a live action Initial D. Like.
Okay.
Have I ever told you about this before?
No.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's live action Initial D, right? It takes place 20 years, like present day, because Initial D takes place in like 1999, kind of like 2001, like that kind of,
Yeah.
late 90s Japanese era, right? Of this Takumi guy, right?
Yeah.
18 years old. And so I want to write a story about his kid, right? But it's going to sound a little bit Tokyo Driftish, but pretty much that it's about the kid's Canadian. Grew up in Vancouver. He's used to he like loves cars. Doesn't know his dad, right? And his whole backstory is he loves cars. He drives the same car as me, so he drives like a front wheel drive turbo manual car. And right after high school, his mother dies, because she's been sick for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And after she dies, he gets a letter in the mail saying that, and it's like a I don't know how it works in Japan, but like he has a deed to this property in Japan. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to go to school. My mother just died. I don't know what to do. So I guess I inherited a place in Japan. I'm going to go there. And he goes there, and it's a tofu shop.
Oh, okay.
Right? But he doesn't really know he doesn't know his dad. So in my mind, he's like half Japanese, half like, white or whatever. Like,
He could be full Japanese too. I mean,
I think it's more interesting if he's half, because it's a part of him, but he doesn't know. Because if the mom was Japanese, then there's a connection to Japan where he's got this knowledge already. But it's interesting if he's like he's disconnected to Japan as I'm disconnected to India, because I've never been there.
Okay.
I only have a dad who's ever, he's pretty Canadian though. So anyway, so he goes to Japan. There's a garage beside like the thing or whatever, and it's got this broken down car. It's the 86, right? But it's kind of like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some mechanical skills or whatever, and then he ends up like probably getting a job. And then there's like there's always the character in a story that will serve as expositionary kind of thing, right? They'll tell you how things are. If someone's like how Little Bow Wow's character was the same way for that guy in Tokyo Drift, right?
Yeah.
He explained the rules that associated with the world around them, right?
Yeah.
And then this guy, he figures out really who his dad was. He didn't know, like, he was his legend, right? And he doesn't know if his dad's dead or alive, but then he finds out he's alive somewhere. And there's someone who knows where he is, but to find out that information, he's got to race a certain amount of, like, certain people. Well, there's people who are gunning for him because of the legacy that his father is. So he's trying to live up this legacy that he doesn't even know who this guy was, but people are coming for me because of my dad's legacy, right?
It's a very Japanese thing. It's, it's in your blood. And
it's in your blood. It's like, so the thing is, he rebuilds this, say, 86 or whatever, right? But he's driving a car that's completely opposite of anything he's used to. It's rear-wheel drive, no ABS, underpowered, all that stuff compared to something, right?
Opposite hand.
Right. Yeah, opposite side of the road. So, it's a kind of like that coming of age story, right? And then at the end, he ends up finding his dad who, because in the story, Initial D, the guy becomes like a big racer,
mm-hmm.
right? But in the story that I have, he killed somebody on the road during a race, and he felt terrible about it and quit racing and secluded himself in the mountains. That's kind of like where I would go with it. And then he ends up finding his dad later on, and like at the end of the movie, kind of like that Luke Skywalker.
Oh yeah, where Rey walks up and hands him
where he finds his dad sitting on a bench near the lake that he has his house on, right?
Yeah, hands him the keys, and he just chuck the keys over the ledge.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be actually just holding the keys to the 8.6, And so that's when he meets his dad for the first time, kind of thing. And that's like kind of when the movie would end. But like that's kind of like Initial D legacy story. That's not necessarily about it'll have some of the characters from the original.
It's building on a story that's already been told, right?
Yeah, it's the foundations, but it's a different story. Because I did some search on the internet of like other stories like that, like because there's a whole like thing for Initial D fan fiction, but I couldn't find a single story that took place in present day. All of them were like in the timeline of that era, right? Like off to the side kind of thing. I'm like, nobody's done this before. So I wanted to write just like a typical.
Give it a shot, man.
But then I was like,
if we'll give it a shot, and if you feel happy with it at the end, then that's great. If not, then it's something that you probably learned something from at least.
Yeah. So like I don't know if someone would actually watch this because I want to make it accessible. Like if I was like to pitch this movie, I want to be like, I want to create a story it's not necessarily original. No story is really original. I'm pulling elements from different stories like anybody else does, but you don't have to know Initial D lore, and you don't have to watch this anime to be able to appreciate the story.
No.
It's very accessible. You could go to it and you'll be caught up.
You lay, if you know the background, it lays the foundation for the story. But like, if you have that character that does the exposition to tell about the legend of his father or something like that, or like around these parts, there was a famous driver with a car very similar to this or whatever, right? It lays the foundation.
Yeah.
Down, and if you can write him decently well enough, then I think he can provide all the background that is needed for the movie.
Yeah. And then I had another idea for a movie. I won't go into it really, but it was about nobody's ever done it before. But I found out in my genetics that, like from Ancestry, that they tied my DNA to a group of Indian people that were sent to either Fiji or the Caribbean, because the British Empire did that indentured servitude or whatever it's called, where they just shipped you off, right? And so it'd be interesting to do a story about someone from India who's separated from their family that goes, because they were promised after 5 years they'd be paid and given land or something, but the British reneged on it.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to tell a story of someone leaving their family in India and going to the Caribbean, and like it could be just like a drama or something like that.
Like a period piece or something.
Yeah, so they're pretty much betrayed by the British government, and then now they're trying to get back home, but they can't, kind of thing, and just the journey of trying to get back, or like.
These are good stories, man. I like them.
Yeah, so, man, maybe I guess it's hard because like I said, like when you're alone all the time, you don't have anybody to talk to about this shit.
Yeah, you can just bounce ideas off of people and stuff like that.
Yeah, so but when you talk about it, it makes you like kind of more inspired about it.
Yeah,
so.
and it gives you the motivation to do this kind of stuff, right? And I think that's something with like this podcast again. I find that having the 5 of you guys come on every now and then and actually enjoy doing this kind of stuff really puts a fire in my belly to keep pushing out, stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Especially when we could all be in the same room again. We'll do something like fun.
Yeah.
Some kind of.
We'll figure it out. I mean,
can we do a live stream?
Yeah.
Some kind of live stream.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. It's not hard to set up. I'm sure that a couple of us have Twitch accounts. We'll just stream off of that or something.
Yeah. Or like can you do YouTube live?
I think so.
Or do you have to have like a following?
I really don't know, but
I have no idea. So.
Yeah. Do a live stream of a podcast or something like that, and just.
And we'll have like, I don't know, like either like a guest or like some kind of challenge or something.
Something like that, or like we can just make a fucking entertaining stupid weekend at somebody's cabin, and we can just try and.
How many of us have cabins? So yeah, no, that'd be really fun actually. Just like, yeah, entertaining. That'd be fun. That'd be a good segment. Entertaining stupid weekend.
Yeah.
And then a stupid weekend with the boys. So.
Yeah.
All right. Call it there?
Yeah, we'll call it there. It was great catching up with you, Christian.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we kind of missed you these last 2 months or so.
I think I was on last month. I was on.
You were at the one at the very beginning, and possibly another one too.
I think I was on 2 of them.
Whatever.
Discord, but
yeah,
cool.
All right, I want to thank you again, Christian, and we'll catch you guys all next time.